Yep. Hey, you guys. All right, so I have a little bit of a surprise. I mentioned this in the Wild Tribe After Hours that this is Matt, and that's his wife, Cindy.
Hi.
And then your last name is, it's Kaiser?
Kazare.
Kazare.
Yeah, we're from Wyoming.
They're from Wyoming. It's Kazare. Now I feel better because I think I've been saying Kaiser.
It's fine. Been called worse.
Okay. Well, here, you can, that way you can flip it around.
There we go.
Right, so, yeah. So, basically, he brought us one of his custom saddles, and he's going to kind of talk to you guys about it a little bit because I could ask a ton of questions, and I'm not a saddle person. So, we have him here. They had to come down here for something, and he swung by. You can come close to that.
Oh, I was trying to get both of you in
Okay,
it.
no, that way they can hear it. Okay, so tell us about this one. What tree is in here?
So this is a Buster Welch ranch cutter, that's what a lot of people would call it. So it's got a 8-inch swell, that's the gullet height, and a 13-inch wide swell. Pretty standard for a ranch cutter type.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
With a 3x12 cannel and deep, narrow ground seat, so you're really close to the horse and close contact.
Yeah, you can
Skirts.
tell this thing is super close contact.
Yeah, and full 3-leg swing fenders, but it's still stout enough, got a strong enough rigging, and the bars in the tree for day work and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
when we sent you down that slick out weight, I thought this is huge, and I've been riding it, but it's a lot different, so give you kind of a different look.
It is definitely a different look, but I love this. I mean, and listen, I loved the weight saddle, and I loved like the aesthetic value of it, but it's really hard because up there where you're from, everybody rides those, but down here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna put this saddle on a couple of horses. That way, one thing I want to explain is we ride a huge variation of horses here. And the thing is, we can get just about any good saddle that has a good tree, just with the change of a pad to pretty much fit everything. And I've had people argue, and I try to tell people, if you buy a really good made saddle, with the exception of your horse just maybe being something crazy, there's not many horses that we can't get these good, especially these Buster. Here's a Buster Welch.
Yeah.
And those trees have been around for a long time.
Since the 70s.
Since the 70s.
Yeah, even late 60s probably. Really,
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, they'll fit just about anything.
Yeah, and this is what a lot of people would call the standard like full quarter horse bars, but it's got a tall enough gullet height that it'll clear early tall withered horse pretty good.
Yeah.
And
I love this saddle.
with a inch thick wool pad and a double weave on top, you can make this fit a lot of different critters.
Okay.
Yeah.
She sent me pictures. What is it? No, bring it. Alright, so this is Raider, you guys. And we're going to put a pad on this horse. But the thing about Raider is that I want you guys to see this horse has like a really good wither for being such a stout horse. So the reason that I've had some saddles that I had made with Buster Welch trees, and I always liked them because you get a lot of clearance, but they're wide enough through the shoulder that they can fit a broad horse. They don't roll on a super wide horse, but a horse with a good wither that really has these big shoulders, they fit good. Sorry, Raider, I'm on the wrong side. Let Matt put it on there. Video. Sorry, you guys. I have kind of not been feeling my very best today, so I'm trying. I'm on the struggle bus of life.
We're growing together.
We are. So I love that. I love that this horse has a tall wither, and look at this, you guys. There is a ton. Man, it fits this horse great.
Yeah, it doesn't fit him bad at all.
No, well, he's the one horse that actually, he's not a bad made horse, but he's a little bit harder to fit. And when the osteopath came out, you can tell somebody had had a saddle on him pinching him. Sure. Probably because they were trying to find something narrow enough here that saddle fit up off of him.
But wide enough down here.
But it's not wide enough, and it was really, and I love, the saddle fits good, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it's even got enough relief back here on its kidneys too. It don't fit him bad at all.
It does not fit him bad.
And one thing that's different about these and my saddles, especially like a cutter or performance type, is that my fenders are still twisted and wrapped.
They are twisted and wrapped. I noticed that in the other one. So these come naturally twisted like this. So you never have to fight your fender to get them to turn out. And I noticed that in some of the pictures and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
This is a big deal because I've got a lot of saddles in there, and this is not something that you see. This is something that actually is really it is a very custom thing that you only see on kind of higher end saddles.
Sure.
But the way that they work is that fender gets to lay and you just don't fight it. And I find that you don't have to fight this as much, because when this is constantly trying to turn in and you're trying to get your toes out, you're fighting with your thigh and you don't get that thigh clearance.
Sure. Yeah, and if you ever have like ankle or knee pain, a lot of the time it comes from fighting all this leather down here to keep your foot and your toe pointed out. So if it's already facing forward, you don't have to have that.
No. And another thing I love about his saddles is they fit really good. And I see a lot of people when they buy a saddle trying to get it to fit, and they keep scooting them farther and farther forward. And the next thing you know, these saddles are up here because they're trying to find that spot for that saddle to stop. And what I've noticed about this one and the other one we had, because they are built really balanced, you can actually get these saddles in a really good spot that's behind the shoulder. And when you go to cinch these horses up, you have that clearance between the shoulder and the girt. Like, your saddles sit in a good spot and you don't fight them forward. And I see a lot of people doing that.
Yeah. Your tip of your bar, which runs right about here, should be right at the edge of that scapula.
Yes.
A lot of people will put that right on top of that scapula.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of the problem comes from.
Yes, I see lots of people saddle too far forward. So just rule of thumb, you guys, that I always learned is mid-wither is where this should be. So if you can't see, oh, look at him take a breath. This horse has kind of been a horse that when we got in here, we love him. Raider's one of our favorites. But he had been day worked on and they had picked up at rodeos, and he's not the biggest horse in this barn. Sure. But they've drug a lot of bulls on him, and he does. He really does. Yeah. But he was so jammed up here, and he wasn't ugly about it. But when you would go to saddle him,
oh yeah, you can definitely.
And look, this saddle, and I have noticed this, when you get a saddle that fits a horse and they're not worried about it, he took that big breath because he knows. I mean, this is not in a place that's pinching him. I mean, it's, and I do like that. I like that.
If the saddle's too wide, which 90% are out there, and I know that sounds backwards from what the narrative is. If with it unsaddled and uncinched, if you put it on here like it should be, and you grab right here at the base of the arm, pull down, you shouldn't have the back end of your saddle
come up. That's right.
Like this one did.
Yep.
Because when you girth them up, all that pressure is put right here. If they're too wide, and it just
it does, absolutely. And it makes it hard when you ride colts if you get one that wants to tip forward, no matter how much you suck them down with a back cinch. If they've got any, yeah.
If you have a horse that's dropping their shoulders real bad, a lot of times that's what you got to look for.
So what we do is we use these pads, and of course these are the ones that have that memory foam. But I will tell you, if we get a horse and we think a saddle's a little wide, I just go from these little, like, this one is what, 5/8 or something, 5/8. We just go to a full 1-inch pad, and it just makes all the difference. I mean, you can.
And even going to a 1-inch pad with a double weave on top still is not a bad idea.
Right.
You know, I mean, I ride a lot of thoroughbred type colts in the same type of saddle, and with the double weave and a 1-inch pad, you get along great.
Well, and that's another thing I think that people do forget, because people try to go smaller and smaller with their pads because they want a more close contact feel. But the thing is I would rather ride a pad like this and put a wool blanket over the top of it and have the close contact come from my saddle.
Absolutely.
But you're only going to get that if you buy a saddle. I mean, I don't know if you guys can tell just how close contact. I mean, this is very thin. And by thin, I don't mean poor quality. Like, these fenders are super soft.
Yeah.
But they are quality. But look how close contact, for those of you who ride English in the past and now you ride Western, you can appreciate just how close contact. And I mean, we can pull something out for comparison. There's no comparison, actually.
Yeah, your close contact feel really comes from how close
Absolutely.
Your seat is to the bar of the tree. And then all the way from here through your thigh path is what us saddle makers call
Absolutely.
it. Down through here. And a lot of time there's just a lot of unnecessary stuff.
There's tons of unnecessary stuff.
There.
Yeah.
Where it should be placed in the rigging and
Absolutely.
other spots. So.
And I tell people all the time, so all the trees, because people say, oh, well, if that saddle has a Buster Welch and that has a Buster Welch, but that doesn't make them the same, because all it is just the basic tree. So everything that's built around it is where the craftsmanship and where the actual, that's where the actual payoff is in buying a saddle like this that's custom versus just buying a $1,200 or $1,500. You saw the word Buster Welch. You knew this one had a Buster Welch. There's not the same.
Yeah,
they are not the same.
A lot of Buster Welches, there'll be the same slope of the shoulder right here, but a lot of them will actually dive in and have more like undercut, if you will, and it's still technically called a Buster Welch, but there's variations even within the name.
But I love this. Has a little bit of, like, what do you call this, a rancher's rise or a little bit of a cowboy rise
I
in
call it just when people put an order in, I would just call that a narrow waist and kind of a narrow deep seat. It's like if somebody really wants to feel really narrow right through here, this is what's called the waist of the seat. That's right here. A lot of times they're pretty flat. And if you like that, that's fine, but I can do whatever. You know, this
I love this.
Customizable.
I love this. Okay, so we have a tree here to kind of show you guys. So, Jackie, will you sit this over there and we'll put this tree that way? Because a lot of people ask me about this.
It'll be interesting to see how this fits this horse. This is actually for a customer in Kansas. We're stopping by on the way home.
Yeah, I love it.
And so his horse is like a really wide back, flat back,
right?
King type quarter horse.
Yeah, an old school one, yeah.
And so this is actually a Will James front end. You can see the difference on it. So we'll see how this guy fits his horse.
Yeah.
See, even this horse could use. It don't fit too bad with a pad. You could get by. You know, it's not a perfect fit. He needs a little less angle and probably a little less gullet width.
A little less gullet width. This is not an easy to fit horse though.
No, it's not.
This horse right here. And so what I wanted to show you is this is the trickiest horse in our entire barn to saddle fit. And that Buster Welch, I know that people think that's a basic tree, but it's not basic. It's actually the best tree, I think. I love the way they ride, especially when you have somebody like this that builds.
In the tree can change. This is what our gullet width is from here to here. And so when people try to measure the gullet width on a built saddle, you can't actually get a accurate measurement here. And what affects that too is your stock thickness, which is this measurement here is how wide of a front end you have. Because if this was half of an inch wider, now your gullet width is going to measure different, even though the bars never changed. The distance between the bars never did change.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes into it.
There is a lot that goes into it.
Handmade tree guys, from where I'm from, they take their measurement from right here, which they call that a handhole width. And they feel like that's the most accurate measurement between the distance of the bars because that never changes.
That never changes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like if you ever hear like a 4x90 or whatever, they're talking about this as a handhole with a 90-degree bar. You
know what I think? People really want to dumb saddles down so the general public can understand, and that's where they get to talking about this.
Yep.
But the truth is, if you have a saddle made, he's right. I mean, this right here is where your spinal clearance is going to come from, and this isn't going to change. Where this will a little bit because you're going to add some leather. You're going to add, but that's never going to change for sure.
No, it's not. And there's like this is. I don't know if you can see that. Right through here where it changes from this angle, they start to turn.
Yeah, there's some rock in this for sure.
So like that can all be adjusted, and the twist can be a little bit, adjusted. So there's just a lot that goes into them.
There is. And another thing I noticed is you see different tree makers that all have Buster Welch trees. And I've noticed that's just, Buster Welch is just like saying the word sneaker. Like, he has on a pair of sneakers, I have on a pair of sneakers, but they're made by different companies and they're not the same. And so you made a good point, like where you're from, a lot of the guys up there make your trees, and so you buy trees that are being handmade. They're not from Mexico, they're not from China, and they're not we see a lot of them now that don't have any give to them because they're like that carbon, they try to make them cheaper, and they're, and
some of the fiberglass covered trees are really good, but there again, you just got to buy it from somebody that's doing it
that definitely knows.
But yeah, this is a rawhide covered wood tree, and made like it was 100 years ago.
But you know what? I want to go back to this because we have some saddles, and Jackie and I have discussed this. We have some saddles, and I'm not going to pick on the brand, but they've gone to the carbon fiber where the tree is indestructible, but they don't have any give to them.
Oh.
Where these right here are wood with rawhide. So you have to remember, if you put this on your horse and you ride him all day long, there's a little bit of give here.
Yeah,
the heat comes off the back, and your saddle pad is going to start to give a little, and these will have a little. When you ride those, we find that we have weird sweat, like,
yeah, oh sure,
we get some weird non-sweaty places because there's just no give, and it just traps. It just gets down, and it'll stop the...
And one thing about natural fibers, even rawhide, it seems like it just continues to pull the heat from the animal. So you start with the wool on your skirts, and then the leather, and it just continues to pull the heat. So yeah, we get along really good with these, you know.
I love that they're handmade trees, though.
Yeah.
And you're right on the wool. We have a handful of saddles that are wool underneath, and then we have some that have the...
synthetic?
It's not synthetic. It is nothing. It's
like that, like a batting type stuff.
And I'm telling you that those saddles, I've had more horses that get a little bit back sore. And it's because people forget that even with English saddles, they always talk about the flocking inside the saddle. It pulls that heat and gets that off those horses' back so that the muscles can still so the lactic acid can move when they can't breathe, and it pushes down, and this stops, I guess, like breathing and pulling that heat off. That lactic acid sets in way worse. And I see more back soreness with if you try to do neoprene saddle pads or things that don't breathe and don't pull. Will you do me a favor? Let's put him up and let's grab something completely different, like sumo. Will you bring me sumo? We're going to just kind of show you these same trees on a very different horse because, like I said, this is actually the hardest horse in my barn to fit because you guys can just see, I mean, how truly wide this horse's shoulders are.
He's really narrow right through here, but he's wide
has a
down
ton of wither. So everybody that we've kind of talked to has been like, oh yeah, because they want to get a more narrow to clear up here, but he's not narrow through here. You guys, y'all see this muscle? Oh yeah, that's a really good point. They can see it great. You can see this. I mean, this horse has a huge muscle above that scapula on both sides. And I will tell you, from being used as a pickup horse, it's just now normal. This side was dipped in. Where they had roped and turned on him for so long, this muscle on this side is just really coming back. And you can see he's got a saddle.
They don't ride even either. You know, people don't ride even.
They don't.
So it's...
Listen, I really love you, and I know you want the attention. Don't worry. We will end with you. I promise. Squirt is demanding it to be his turn.
Yeah, when people see, you know, a bare tree, the ground seat, I can change.
Absolutely.
A lot.
Yeah, because this is not thick. I mean, so from right here to your butt, it's all your craftsmanship.
Yeah. And so you want to be as close right here to the bars of the tree as you can, because that means you're close to the back of your horse. You can sit the stalk, you can sit the spin, you can put on the trail ride. You know, you're just going to be comfortable.
This thing came from your part of the country.
Looks like
big
it.
crossbred. Yeah.
Valentine bugger.
Probably, yeah. Hancock and some kind of draft.
Well, he's got the feet over
Oh, yeah. Well, he had even bigger feet, and our farrier, he had been done. And the last farrier that came didn't really assess that, so he just retrimmed him and took him down. He was in Billings, and I took him out because that's okay. All right, so do you want to sit that and see?
Put the tree on and then put the saddle on.
Yep, that way we
Actually,
can see.
This horse has a good back as well.
He does have a good back.
Yeah, he's got a good back.
He's actually one of those. He's just a 4-year-old, and he's the coolest dude in this entire barn. And he's just.
If you kind of follow where that scapula dives off, that's really where your bar should sit. The bar tip.
Oh yeah, it fits him much better than that other horse. He's. Yeah, because Sumo, if he stands on you, he's a big dude. Sumo, move over. There he goes. There we go. Yeah.
So yeah, that's for that. That actually fits him really well.
It does fit him really well. And so I hope you guys see what he's saying. Everybody, and I'm not trying to be ugly, but so many of you try to saddle your horses up here. If your girt touches right here, your saddle is too far forward. And so many of you do that, and I hope they can see now the difference.
Yeah.
I mean...
And the big reason why that happens is because a lot of saddles are rigged in the full position, which is in the center of your horn, basically.
Okay.
And so people think that, it needs to be right here, and it doesn't. You need to saddle your horse where the tree should sit in the back, which is right there. And then wherever you're rigging drops down with your cinch is where you should saddle him up. And you can have a little angle going forward, and that'd be fine. But that's where people get into a lot of trouble.
They do.
They'll put it way too far forward because they think that rigging should be great.
We buy so many horses in here that are amazing horses, and they've started to get cold backed from this.
On a bare tree, you can even do that and see how the back of that doesn't lift up
yes.
much.
There's
so
not.
with the saddle skirting and some wool,
it would fit him great.
Yeah. And this is a sweet little tree. Little James, it's got a little undercut.
It kind of reminds me of those 70s style. Like, this is a cool, with that horn. I mean, it.
Yeah.
But I love it. But you guys just remember, when you guys have these saddles, especially when he makes them, you're going to be able to sit these saddles a little further back. My rule of thumb is 5 fingers. I want my girt to be from that shoulder where my thumb is. I want my girt to be back here. I mean, you can see where we've saddled this horse because he's roan. I mean, you can see where our girt has gone on this horse.
And a lot of people get
that far back.
They'll sore them right through here. And it's more forward. A lot of times it's just because of the friction of their elbow movement.
Yes. We had somebody that wanted to ride barrel saddles a lot, and he would ride them forward, and it was a girl, but she kept, remember 3 or 4, she kept galling them right there. Yeah. And it was because she was saddling them way up here.
Yep.
And then those girts would be right here. And yes, that galling, you're right, it's from the elbow moving that that girt constant. That is right.
It's like a set of football pads if you're strapping too high,
Absolutely.
So, anyways, we can throw that saddle on here.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah, so he's definitely he's a good horse, and he's actually really docile for being kind of a crossbred from up there. But when we got him, you could tell he was from cowboy country. If you jumped, he would head out back, and he's now a cookie monster, but he was not when he got here, I think. Actually, what was funny is, for whatever reason, we got him off. I called, and he had been being a part of a pack outfit. They got him as a big 2-year-old and had just been packing, and he wasn't that broke, but he was so sweet. And do you know why they got rid of him? He learned to untie the double end clips, and he twice untied himself and got into the camper's food and got into all at night and rummaged like a bear the entire campsite, and they were done. But you can appreciate that because where you're from, it's not funny to them. They were mad motherfuckers, man. But Sumo would, and that's why I called him Sumo, because he's a fat ass. He was letting himself loose and then going into rummaging the campsite.
Well, he's probably starved to death.
Oh, yeah. Oh, funny. Oh, this fits amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I hope now they see what I'm saying. This Buster Welch tree, that other horse and this horse, same saddle pad, very different. I mean, you couldn't pick 2 more different built horses.
Yep.
And this sucker fits him. I like it.
Yeah.
Way good.
Has enough. Still sits down enough, but not so much you're going to get your kidney sore,
Right.
So, yeah.
I still can't get over, and not that other saddle wasn't, but this saddle feels amazing.
Yeah.
Is there a difference in the leather? Talk to me about that, because I'm going to tell you, the other saddle, I rode it, I liked it, but I mean, this saddle feels...
This one is oiled heavier.
A heavier oil,
Not
okay.
like how it is now for Barb.
Yeah.
So this one was, I oiled
She's
it
watching.
A little bit heavier to begin with.
Yep.
Just because I didn't want to mess with it too much.
Yep.
And I just broke it in.
You broke it in, yeah.
No, but that's it, and it's just a little bit heavier oiled,
Okay, and so we were talking the other day about how some of those saddles that we got that have these not in-skirt riggings, but like this, and they were so flimsy.
Right.
And I love how yours pulls.
Yeah, it comes back here. It's kind of like a little cross between a flat plate and a full double. So you're still getting a pull from this front ring back here.
Yes.
It's not all up front.
And will you get the ropes, the double J rope saddle, and put there? I just want to show them, because I think to the naked eye, they'll be like, you just complained about this, Tara, but it's not the same at all. No. I mean, if you guys look what he's trying to say, this right here connects up into here. We have this piece, but this, I mean, that's going to pull this seat down, and then this one, I mean, yeah.
And this wraps all the way around the back of the bars here.
Yes.
And so that's your rear rigging.
So even though it's not an in-skirt rigging, it really is. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
If
I was to build this just straight for myself, I would have done it as an in-skirt rigging. But that's a little bit different than a traditional ranch cutter.
Yeah.
And I built this kind of like a ranch cutter because I didn't know if I was going to keep it or build it and ride it. And I fell in love with this. I just kept on riding it.
Yeah, I keep thinking so we need to do some negotiating. How do we get it left here? So is this the one? Yeah, throw the skirt. So I just want you guys to see the difference. How this one is not, this is not built the same. This is just I mean, I'm not trying to knock this and tout that, but you can just see a big difference in just the basic. I mean, this is just,
Sure.
It's just hobbled there. I mean, it's not pulling. His comes up and is attached to that tree so that when you do cinch them down, it's pulling that, it's attached up here where it's pulling that tree down. This just runs across.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, so all your
It's fine. It's just big difference.
Yeah, this is a traditional full double, you know, and all your pull is just from that.
Just right there.
So if you're doing any kind of roping or like the back's coming up, you have to have that.
You have to have that back cinch. And I will tell you that in the Wade saddle, if we did have a colt that really, really didn't want a back cinch and it did get squirrely, that saddle didn't move. I loved a lot of aspects about that saddle.
And
But
most
again,
of that comes
we'll
down
show
to
you.
fit. You know how good that's fit in the back. We can.
Yeah, it's okay. Nope, I just was stepping over here to just show them again. Like, just, you guys can just see the difference in that this one is just attached all the way around. So I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I got a little deformed in the truck ride, but.
Nah. You know, that's the good thing about saddles. You can ride it right back out of them.
Well, and I did this one as a full rough out just so that it would be a nice using saddle.
I like a full rough out.
Yeah, you can beat up and do whatever.
Squirt. My goats, I don't know if, did she tell you the goat story? No. Jacob is still so mad about the goats. Can you put that saddle right here and grab me Squirt? They'll grab it. Grab Squirt?
I'll grab Squirt.
Okay. Yeah, Clint can grab it. So the goat story is kind of funny. A horse trader came in here. He had 4 goats on the trailer. And he had bought them at a sale barn and had been driving around. He had more of them and he was kind of trying to trade on them. Well, he had bought in so many horses, he ran those horses in over the top of them. And a couple of them got stepped on. One of them was hurt and they were sick. And of course, Jackie and I are bleeding ass hearts. So we take the goats off the trailer and we water them and feed them. And then we couldn't let him have them back. So now we have goats and they're annoying. And Jacob wants rid of them so bad. They go in your house.
I know, but I still love them.
Sumo is so stunning. He's just, look at him. You can tell he's still just a little up north. He just.
Is that a brand on his side there?
I don't know.
Looks like a.
Maybe. He's got that KM up there and. Yeah.
Star of the show.
Yeah. And believe it or not, this horse is not an easy fit.
No, he's a
Asshole? Yeah.
spread looking deal.
He is actually a Colonel Smoking Gun.
Yeah.
Out of Boo and Steve Ross had him when he was younger, like when he was like 3, and they sold him, and he's just a reigning bred horse. But again, you guys can see this is old. This is a scar. When I got Squirt, he had been a stud and he was mean, but somebody had done it to him. Oh, they were mean as hell to this horse. And we've made friends with him, but I can't sell him because I know that he would hurt somebody, or he will. It's awful. You wouldn't believe.
This horse is like, he's probably 50 to 100 pounds overweight.
Hey, now! Tell him, don't talk shit!
No. It's better off to have him this way than the other direction.
I know!
Well, when they'll hold water in their back.
Yeah, he will definitely hold water. But I'm telling you, you can see where somebody had saddled this horse too far forward and see where that shoulder moved. This was awful when we got him. It was, it was. And he had this, and they were awful. Yeah. That one, I never thought we were going to get it healed up.
Right. Well, let's see how this will fit him.
Yeah, because he's
really, well, people will tell you he's
you're an
really
asshole,
really
man. He is. Yeah. But he's only 13.3.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and 12.50. Oh, it fits him? Yeah.
Not half bad.
No, it fits him.
With the pad, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
So, getting the shape, is a lot to do with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
But yeah, it's not too bad.
No, but he's so damn he is fat. Tell him, be nice to me.
A lot of these horses that feel like him,
Mm-hmm.
they'll get some major kidney pressure right here.
Yep.
And see, this got some relief for him.
Yep.
So he can still reach underneath himself and stop.
Yep.
If he needs to. A lot of times they'll actually run into that rear bar pad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he kind of has a dip, and this has a little rock to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes people forget that. They think that rock is for like a swayback horse. Not necessarily. This horse is so short backed. If this didn't have some rock in it, this right here would go straight back. And like he said, it would just, every time he went to stop or do anything, he would be ramming into this. And because that has a little rock in that bar, it gives him clearance to where when this saddle sits, you know, it'll have a pad. He'll have plenty of clearance, for sure. He thinks that he's the star of our program. We apologize in advance for having to.
A horse with this conformation doesn't have more saddle tracks on him.
You know,
Horses like him, you know what I mean?
when he was a young horse, he was in reining training, and then he sold as a stud to a guy out in Amarillo, and he was young, and that guy, I guess, claimed that this horse like just went ape shit, attacked him, and I believe it because he's run.
Oh yeah.
He's run just you wouldn't believe. But then a Mexican guy got him.
Little footed bugger.
He is. He wears a double aught, and they hang over.
See, you can see why coming from my country.
Yeah. Oh, Sumo could just walk over the top of this horse. I don't think people realize how little Squirt is. But if you were to just...
Squirt is like this, so they can really...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Sumo and Squirt are definitely... Yeah. Sorry, you guys.
Yeah, he is short back.
He is short backed, and I'm going to tell you that he rides like $1 million though now.
I bet.
But he's a butt. He tries to buck me off all the time. I won't lie. I won't lie about it.
When you go test drive the saddle.
Yeah.
Not today.
Not today. This thing's been on hiatus.
And really, this is like a big outlier.
This is...
You're not going to find too many.
Look at that, you guys. It fits him too. And I mean, this is... Yeah.
Look at the clearance.
Actually, I thought.
It fits this horse. But I also know what other saddles, and we've been through saddles trying to find something. I mean, this fits him as good as anything. Yeah. And that's, I mean, yeah, I'm actually, you guys can see how good.
Look at you.
Really? Yeah, I'm shocked actually, because this is not an easy, well, you know, I mean, because you're a saddle maker, this is not an easy horse to fit.
No, he's not at all. He's probably the hardest one out of the whole group.
He is, because he's so short back.
Yep.
So when you get somebody that hand makes these saddles and they kind of get that, now I hope you guys see how he does have clearance. You could see where that tree, if it was, it would be really easy to
Yeah, and a lot of that comes with
affect
the rock and the twist in that bar
Mm-hmm.
will affect how it dives into the kidney.
Yes.
Or
And
how-
kidney clearance is super important.
Yeah.
People forget.
And honestly, a lot of the people, like a lot of the dude ranches and stuff, from where I'm from, they will get a lot of kidney sore horses.
I bet.
So, that's one-
Because a lot of people just ride their ass and bounce.
Oh yeah, and so there you got a lot of things going on. You have the bar is probably already digging in to begin with, and then the ground seat's shoving you back here in the back of your channel all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all the pressure is. Or it can be reversed, it can be all up front.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually what happens.
Yep. No, this fits him better than just do not chew it up. I know you. He was going to leave his permanent mark on there for you.
It's all right.
He said he's famous. He was going to sign it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Squirt. And you guys, something I want to show you guys, if you look on the way, or if you look at the seats of these saddles, like I told him earlier, different people call this different, but if you just see, this saddle is going to sit you back and put you in a good place. But what I love is you have such a good close contact right here that even though you're set back, you can still really ride with your thighs, and you can get up out of this saddle if you need to fast. But man, if you have one get ornery and you need to be in a safety, the safety position is what my customers call it. You can get back here and get in a safety position, which is, you know, hand on the horn, get in the back of your saddle, and these fenders can get forward fast because, man, that twist helps. I mean, there's just no fight there at all.
And when I was taught how to build saddles, I was taught that the low point in the ground seat should be 2/3 of the way back, which is right about there.
Okay.
And that is the low spot. A lot of the time, the low spot would be back in here, clear back. And there you can't. You're always fighting it. So
Yep.
right here's a low spot, so it puts you over your leg, so you can ride over your leg or really wherever you want. But yeah, if you're over your leg, you're way more prepared for
Anything.
whatever. You know.
Yep, and I tell people when we call it the safety spot, and that's right here, because some people get scared and they try to get way back here. Well, one bad move, you get blowed up out of your saddle. So the safety spot is where you're grounded right in here, and you can kind of get your feet just a little bit forward so that you've got control. But again, when that horse goes to kind of buck forward, you can get up in this saddle and kind of go with him, and you're not just trapped. So many people get stuck up in the front, or they get too far back and get blowed out of the back. So
And
one thing,
if you need, I can always put
a night latch.
no shit handle on there.
Yeah, I love it. Yes. As soon as I saw this and saw it on there, I was like, yes, you're from up north, because I'm going to tell you. You saw Donnie. We buy some stuff from up north that's a little cranky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how it is.
Yeah. Man, I love this saddle. Okay, so. And of course, I'm sure if people want, you can do single rigging, double, or single skirted. Sorry, not rigging, skirted. You can do just about anything.
I call that a Mother Hubbard skirt, and that's just like what they used to call back in the 1900s. And like I could, make it way closer here. I could any shape, whatever, because it's all hand cut anyways.
Yeah, it's all hand cut. But I hope you guys that ride English recognize just this fit and just how good. I'm telling you, this right here.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and when you have this close contact.
I wish they could feel the quality. It sucks because on camera, I don't know if it translates, but man, I mean, but go ahead. You were saying, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, so with this thigh path and you're in this close contact and you're sitting in the proper position, so you're over your leg, your horse can actually achieve what
way
English
more.
people would call self-carriage.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
To get these Western horses to
kind of collect up and
self-carriage, but they really can't. A lot of the times, if their saddles don't fit, these horses, God bless them, they'll try,
but
they can't stay there.
But listen, I can't tell you how many people I've said that. They stick Western saddles on these horses that don't fit right, and then they get mad, and these horses get overbroke at the pole, and they get to hiding from you because they're compensating up here trying to do what you say, because they can't round that back up. No. They have to hollow that back. If this doesn't fit right, can you imagine trying to collect and round your spine up into it versus no? That's not going to happen. Let go of me.
Well, and to do it properly, you need to ride them forward. You got to bring these hind legs up underneath of them.
Correct.
To achieve that. And a lot of times, it starts right here, and they'll actually hit that.
Yeah.
And then this is too low and too wide or whatever, and then you might get a step or two and think you've done something.
I hope that this translates on camera, that these horses have clearance in this saddle because of the way that it's built. It's actually sloping up versus one that rides too far down and is riding up in the back. Because
how much
that's
pressure you gotta put on it?
Yeah, I can't. So I think a lot of people though don't realize, you can't. That thing fits. A lot of people don't realize you kind of want a little more rise up here, like he said, so they can get their hind in and up under them and also get the pressure off their kidneys. But I see so many saddles that the saddle just doesn't fit. It's riding down in the front, and then the back, it's all the way up here. And that has nothing to do with being properly fit. That is like literally a saddle that's too. But I hope you guys see that, where this saddle just kind of has a little bit of, I don't want to say a rise, but there's more clearance there. But people also don't realize that 90% of horses that are cold backed, that's what makes them cold backed, is that these saddles are, when the backs, my horse won't ride in a back cinch. Your saddle doesn't fit. It's pressing down on the kidneys. Every time you stop that horse or ask him to collect, he's not able to get up underneath the back of that skirt, and they get cold back because they're constantly trying to get that back up to get this off of them.
I was talking with a lady last year that had a really well-known saddle maker build the saddle. He did an awesome job.
Yeah.
But every time she would go out on a long trot, her horse would always get super, super sore in the kidneys. And that's because she had this going and didn't realize it.
You didn't realize it.
Yep. And
Yep.
So it's just from growing up in the performance horse world, I kind of understand that.
Yeah. No, this saddle, I'm telling you, this is probably, I hands down love this one more than the Wade.
Sure.
But that's a preference
This is more your
of,
style.
this is more my style. But that saddle fit so good that it was hard to talk us out of buying it because it fit amazing.
Sure.
The fit was so good that everybody, we were like, it just fits. Yeah. See?
Right.
But they love it. And Barb did I send you the picture she sent me?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. That
So,
is awesome.
all right, you guys. And I'm going to tell you what, I have tagged their business page at the top. So if you have questions, make sure that you can, do you reply? It's you?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
to forgive me. I'm pretty tech illiterate.
Yes. The biggest thing is if you will text or call, they still live in the old school, which is such a beautiful thing because I wish we did.
Like
But
they're
these,
Amish or something.
yeah, that's okay. But this is the Diamond Ranch Saddle Company. When we do our giveaways, this is where you're getting a base. You're getting a base gift card to his saddles. So if they wanted a completely custom saddle like this and they win a gift card, the difference is
It'd be, let's see, $1,200.
$1,200.
Yes, not,
But
not much.
but the $1,200 gets you. You know, he's gonna.
Yes.
Yes, I love. Yes.
Yeah.
Sit there instead
and
of
then
here.
I rivet those right into the
I love that.
rigging, so you can actually use it to pull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that.
I like the pulling collars that hook right to this
That-
swell.
Yeah.
It's because I'm kind of a draft guy, you know. So
Yep.
I don't know. Seems like a draft collar, kind of.
Yeah.
You know.
But you also you ride and you guys
Every day.
cowboy, yeah.
Might not look like it, but I do.
Yeah. No, it's. But I mean, he's from horse country up there. So another thing is you also make tack. So if they need a breast collar,
Sure.
head stall, reins, anything that you need made, all of this is hand cut out and made by him. And the thing that I love the most is it's all made here in the U.S. Your trees are made here. You use U.S. tree makers.
Yep.
And I have noticed that most companies are going overseas and
Yeah.
the trees,
Well,
there's
look
no
at what's
quality
working
control.
nowadays, you know. There's a good tree company from Utah that closed their doors last October, and so it's put a big strain in the tree market now. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, we still do it. And if somebody wants an actual true handmade tree, one of my neighbors built them by hand.
By hand.
100%. And he does a really, really good job.
Yeah.
So,
So you can, if you need something super custom.
yeah. I mean, he can do any kind of weird swell or whatever. So.
I saw him bite me and hold on to me and wouldn't let go. He had a hold of the whole time we were talking. He had me by the shirt and the belt loop. And I just was trying to get him to let go and not interrupt the conversation. And I just was hoping that I just didn't want him to bite further down. I was like, please stop. He will for sure. Yeah.
Just cut that long. Makes sense.
It doesn't help that he has this much personality on top of it. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can sit that back up there. And, yep. Okay. So this, just so you guys know, when we do our draws, and we're actually fixing to have another saddle draw. We have August coming up. We haven't started it. Normally at the first of the month, I go to start them. We've had two winners. Two. We've had two winners. Kathleen won, and then Roderick won. And then we had... This will be the third. Yeah, so we have a draw coming up. This will be the third. And they're real people. He has spoke to them.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not savvy enough to even get skirt that deal.
Yeah. They're real people. So you get a gift card. And listen, if you just want a base saddle, he can still build you a base saddle for your gift card. You're just not going to have as much customization in the ground seat and things. It's going to be a little bit... You know, that leather probably cost that saddle. You can tell when you feel that that's like English saddle leather. That's very good quality. It's
Top of the line Herman Oak.
oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go put him away. He just wants to know if he's getting paid for this job. He's getting tired of working for free, you guys. Ugh. Ugh. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to let him see the saddle up close again.
Yep.
But I just wanted y'all to meet Matt and his wife, Cindy, and they have 2 kids. But yeah, I just hope you guys can see just the quality of this leather. Man, I wish they could fill it.
Design the technology.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice leather
All right,
skirt.
you guys.
High-priced leather skirt.
Well, you can just see. I mean, like if you just
It is. Have you?
It reminds. You know what it reminds? Any.
Skirts
Anybody that's ever seen English saddles, though, know the difference between like a Devaku and then like the, you know, the $1,000
Oh yeah, yeah.
little. I mean, you just have to, you know, the leather is just. And the thing is, that company's no slouch. But
no,
the
for what
but
it is,
I mean,
it's a good saddle.
but the, I'm just telling you, I wish y'all could feel the quality of the leather. There's a difference there. All right, you guys, we will be back later. Bye, you guys.
Yes,
and
good to meet everybody.
you came to get a dog.
Yeah.
Are y'all ready to move to Texas?
Just about.
Yeah.
Turn the heat down just a smidge.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn the AC up.
We've been trying to talk them into moving to Texas, so we're going to keep working on it.
Yep.
All right. Well, bye, you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.